Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Becca and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a few different types of bracelets and anklets. So let's get into it. All you need to make these bracelets is string. You can find it at places like Walmart or Target, in craft stores like Michael's, or online. The first bracelet I will be showing you is a simple knot pattern. You can use as many strings as you want, but for this video I will be using these 4. The first step, once you have your string picked out, is to cut them to your desired length. They're going to need to be longer than you would expect. For this first bracelet, I made my strings nearly 3 feet long. It ended up being quite a bit more than I needed, but I would rather be safe than sorry. You don't want to accidentally spend time making a bracelet that doesn't even fit your wrist. Once you have your first string cut, just measure all the other strings to that first one so that you know that they're the same length. Once all your strings are cut, you have to tie it off at the end. You can either do this loop knot or a regular double knot, which is what I prefer. Make sure to leave lots of excess for when you tie it onto your wrist. To secure the string while I make the bracelets, I just take a piece of painter's tape and stick it to the top part of my string against my desk. To start this bracelet, you're going to separate one string from the others. I chose the green one. The bracelet is made up of a series of knots. The knots look a lot like 4s, or backwards 4s. You can choose either direction you like, but make sure to stay consistent. Backwards 4s are more comfortable for me, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull the string over top of the others in the shape of a 4, and then pull it through the loop and tighten it all the way up to the knot at the top. Then you're just going to repeat this process. I like to stay with each color for about 8 ties in a row so that I can see the color distinctly in the finished bracelet. So I'm making 8 knots with my green string, and then once those 8 knots are done, I'm going to switch to the next color. So next I'm separating my dark orange from the other strings, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to push it over top of the other strings in the shape of a backwards 4, and then pull it through the loop and tighten it all the way up to the other knots. And again, I'm going to repeat this for 8 ties. At this point, I've gone through each color in my bracelet once, and instead of returning back to the green, I'm going to invert the color pattern. But you can make whatever pattern you want. The order doesn't matter. Just keep in mind that whichever string you use the most is going to run out the fastest. This is the pattern one time through, and now I'm just going to repeat it until it's long enough for my wrist. When I finish, I just peel off the tape, cut the excess string, and tie off the bracelet. For the next bracelet, you're going to need 4 new colors. These are the colors I chose because I wanted to have a bit of an ombre effect where each color fades into the next. For this bracelet, you need 2 pieces of string for each color, meaning there will be 8 total. Once again, I cut them to be about 3 feet, tied off the end, and taped it to my desk to secure it. Next, I separated my string into a left side and a right side, so that each would be the mirror image of the other. I had my dark blue on the outside, followed by light blue, mint green, and green in the middle. Just like our last bracelet, this one is made up of knots that are in the shape of 4s, only this time the direction matters. You're going to start on your left side moving inward, and the 4 is going to be a forwards facing 4, not backwards. You're going to wrap it over the string closest to it, which in my case is light blue. I'm going to make 2 knots on this string, and then I'm going to move on to the mint and then the green. After the green, my dark blue is now in the middle. I'm going to leave it there for now and move on to the right side. When I'm coming from the right side, moving to the middle, I'm going to make my 4s backwards 4s. And I'm going to again create 2 knots on the string closest to it, in my case light blue, and then following that will be the mint and then the green. Once all these knots are done, I'm going to have both of my dark blue strings in the center next to each other. I'm going to take the one that came from the right side, and I'm going to do 2 knots over the dark blue string that came from the left side. These are going to be backwards 4 knots, 2 of them in a row. After these 2 knots are finished, you're going to take the dark blue string that came from the right side and flop it with the other one so that right is now on the left and left is now on the right, just like this, but only the 2 center strings switch sides. Next, I'm going to take my light blue string because now it is on the outside and I'm going to move it to the center, and I'm just going to continually take the 2 strings that are on the outside and move them to the center. I'm going to do some knots off camera now. I'll be back in a minute. I've just finished all 4 colors, so now I'm just going to repeat the pattern until the bracelet is long enough for my wrist. Here's a progress update. The bracelet is about halfway done. Here's the finished bracelet. I wrap it around my wrist to make sure that it's the right length. Once I'm sure, I just tie it off, getting as close to the pattern as possible, and then I cut off the excess string. For this final bracelet, you need 6 pieces of string. Only one of them isn't going to be visible in the pattern at all. In my case, this deep maroon color is not going to be visible in the pattern. For this bracelet, I decided to cut each piece of string a little bit shorter at 2.5 feet because I had so much excess before, but I almost regretted it because I almost ran out of string in the end, since some strings in this pattern get a little bit more use than the others. Once my string was tied and taped, I put it in the order of my watermelon theme. The color order really doesn't matter though, as long as you keep in mind that the 6th string is the one that won't be visible in the pattern. Surprise, surprise, this bracelet is also made up of a series of knots in the shape of 4s. I'm going to start moving from left to right, starting with my dark green string. It's going to make a forward-facing 4 on the light green string directly next to it. I'm going to create my 4 shape and then pull the string through like so, making my first knot. I'm then going to make 1 knot on each of the following strings until my dark green string has made it all the way to the other side. At this point, I take the light green string and do the same thing, stopping at the maroon. Every single string is going to stop after having made a knot on the maroon string, meaning each string makes 1 less knot than the string before it did. By the time I make a knot on my maroon string with my light pink, the pattern has completely flipped. This means that it's time to go from right to left. I'm going to take my dark green string again and make a 4 knot on the light green next to it, only this time the 4 is going to be a backwards 4 since I've changed directions. Once again, I'm going to put 1 knot on every single string until each string has made it to the other side. I almost ran out of string making this bracelet because I forgot that the dark green would be making so many more knots than any other color and run out the fastest, so keep that in mind. When I finished the bracelet, I untaped, cut off the excess, and tied a finishing knot as usual. Here's the finished product. Here are the 3 finished bracelets. After having made all 3 bracelets, the simple knot pattern was definitely the easiest and fastest one to make. I'd say I only spent about 15 minutes on it, and it didn't use that much string either. So it's a very simple, easy design, but I still think it's really cute. The second bracelet I made, the Chevron pattern, took me a really long time. I'd say this bracelet alone took me about an hour to make, but it did turn out really cute, and it's a lot thicker than the other 2 bracelets, so it will be nice to switch things up. The final bracelet that I made, I think this is the best of both worlds because it is a little bit thicker, a little bit more interesting, but it only took me half an hour instead of a full hour to make. And with this specific color pattern, I think the little watermelon triangles look really cute. Alright, thanks for watching my video. I hope you liked it. If you try out any of these bracelet designs, please let me know in the comments. And if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Bye!